today we are going to go up. Let me close the door real quick. Get a lot of background noise. Okay, we're going to go over your 2021 goals for today and how you can set those in Command. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And I have like a million things on my dashboard, so don't freak out. All right, so everyone this is going to be in Command. You're going to log in agent.kw.com. So typically you can set your goals and reports, but since it's still 2020, it hasn't quite activated in reports yet. I'll show you quickly where it's at. So for tracking purposes, this is where you're going to go for anything and everything, your database, your goals, lead routing, email, text, all of that stuff is all housed here. All your stats, all your statistics, where you're getting your lead sources from, you know, how many addresses you have, you know, your database health, everything's in here in reports. Your goals will also be here. This is where you'll watch them. They'll also pop up in different areas of your Command as well. But today we're going to focus on the dashboard. So I'm at my home screen here. I'm on my dashboard. This is the first thing you see when you log in. You're going to scroll down a little bit to the goals versus actual. And this is where you're going to set your 2021 goals. So if you go straight into reports to set them, you're not going to find them there. You're only going to find it here. So I'll go set them now. And then there's a Kelly guide that pops up and takes you through those. So what you should expect, set your goals, and then review your plan. So you are going to click Get Started, and it's going to bring you to this first screen. So you can set your goals for this year, you can change it, or for next year, you can change it for the current year. This is the screen you're going to do the main things from. So right here, you're going to choose 2021, which it should default to that. And then this is incorrect. This should say 2021, because obviously it's already 2020. And I even went through this thinking, well, maybe they want you to compare last year to this year or next year. Sorry, this year to next year, but it's not. So this should be 2021. So apologize for the error on that, but this is what you want your goal to be for 2021. So whatever your annual profit goal is, that is what you're going to put in this number. By default, it will choose $1 million. So if that's good for you, that's cool. If not, change it to whatever you want. And you also, before you really dive into this, you're going to want to kind of look over your expenses for the year so far, look over your cost of sales. And if you're not quite sure what those are, you can hover over these information tabs and it'll tell you. So expenses are things that you pay for whether or not you sell a house or whether or not you have a transaction. So salaries, if you have salaried people, costs for lead generation, marketing, education, automobile expenses, all of that kind of stuff, you're going to pay for whether or not you have a transaction. Then over here is your cost of sales. Again, it'll explain to you, these are what happens when you have a transaction. So your splits with the market center, your royalties, if you pay a transaction coordinator, if you have transaction dependent expenses, you know, like if you do a closing gift or something like that, that would be a cost of sale versus an expense, because you're only going to do that if you have closing. So you'll just want to probably review from this year or years past what those numbers look like, just so you have a more realistic idea of what you want to set your goal for 2021. And hopefully next year will be a better year. But I mean, everyone's been killing it, both market centers. I know I have Cat Partners and Excel on here. I mean, for this year being crazy pandemic and not knowing what's going to happen day in and day out. I mean, we have to live by a day-to-day basis right now. Everyone's been killing it. So don't shortchange yourself on these goals. Don't think, oh, it's a pandemic. Oh, you know, the markets, we don't have a lot of houses to sell. There's multiple offers for buyers. Like, don't let that psych you out. Do do what you can and just do your best. So set your goals. And then once you have a good idea of what your expenses and cost of sales is going to be, just put that in there, what you want for next year. So these are all for next year's numbers. Don't let this 2020 fool you. It should be 2021. So then you want to look at your business makeup. Again, you're going to revert back to this year or past years, see where you're at to make this as realistic as possible. As looking at the, the charts and stuff like that we get monthly from Renee, our MCA, listings are obviously higher than buyers right now and has been month after month. So this needs to reflect that as well. If you're only a buyer's agent, then obviously your buyers are going to be higher than your listings, but just look as realistic as possible. Set your goals for what you want your business makeup to be for 2021. Maybe, you slacked on your buyers this year and you want to ramp that up and make it 50-50, or switch the role. You want it to be full buyer next year, whatever you want your makeup to be, you're going to put that there. And then if you do any leasing, you can add that in there, but it needs to equal 100 or it'll throw off your numbers, obviously. And then you're going to get your average commission per unit. If you need help with those numbers, you can go to mykw.kw.com. You should be able to get reports. If they're not working, let me know. There has been some reporting issues, but everyone that has notified me has gotten it fixed like within a day or so. So if you need to, I highly suggest you go to mykw.kw.com and look at your reports. That'll be in there. You log in just like you log into Command, and you can get those numbers from there. If you can't, let Renee know, or Joanne if you're at Cat Partners, or Emily if you're at Excel, and we can help you get those numbers just so you have a realistic expectation. Or you can also look at your All Opportunities tab of Command, and you can see what your past commissions have been. So you can average it out that way as well if you feel comfortable doing a little bit of math. So put those numbers in there. You're going to get what you want from there, and just set those goals. What do you want that? And then again, it tells you information along the way. So once you have all those numbers in there, like I said, you're going to have to do some legwork to get these as accurate as possible and at least reflect on what's as accurate as possible and get those in there for next year. Then you're going to hit next. Then it's going to take you to the goal conversion rates. So they populate these rates for you as an average. These are just default and they're conservative. So as you put more data and information in, these numbers will be updated. So how quickly are you, so goal conversion rates. So how quickly are you turning a lead into contacts? How quickly is your contact setting an appointment? How quickly are your appointments set turning to appointments kept? How quickly are what percentage, I'm sorry, not how quickly, what percentage of your appointments kept are turned into agreements, and how many agreements go under contract or pending, and then how many go from there to closed units. So as that progresses, that number is going to get bigger, the likelihood, because as you build that relationship and as you move down that line, is the more likely they're going to, close. So if you want to change these, if you have those numbers and you worked those numbers, you can change them. But this is the conservative default. But again, as you set what you want, and then as you work in Command, as you get those leads, as you move them down your pipeline, this is going to adjust based on how you are doing with those. So this will give you, not only are you setting it, but it's giving you an accurate representation of what you're actually doing and what needs work to meet your goals. So, and then you hit save and continue. Once you have those, and then it's going to give you an overall breakdown of everything that you set for yourself. Make sure you like it. Make sure this is everything you want. And then you're done. So you can hit what's next. And then these are the few things that you can use to help make sure you're achieving those goals. Smart plans. So that's touching your database. That's changing your leads into contacts. That's changing your contacts into appointments by reaching out to these people on a regular basis. Reports, checking your reports, seeing how your progress is going. Because like if any of you are CAT partners and you attended the office meeting yesterday, you set these goals just like you set a New Year's resolution, and then life happens. Nobody knows what tomorrow's brings, especially with everything going on. You don't know, so whether it's personal, professional, pandemic, school, anything, kids, family, you don't know what's going on. But if you set these now, get these ready, and as life happens, Command is going to keep you on track and remind you of what you are and are not doing. So if you set your goal for $1 million for next year and it's February or May of next year, and you see that you're not even 50% of the way to your goal and you're almost halfway through the year by May, June, that's gonna be your kick in the britches of part of to get where you need to go. So use these tools to help you. And then your home screen, that where we started, that goals versus actual will always be there as long as you have it set up that way. And if it's not, I recommend you customizing your home screen so it is there. That way every day when you log into Command, you will see it. So those are all there. It's simple. It literally takes a few minutes to plug in. It will take you a couple minutes to get those numbers just so you can compare last year to see where you want to go next year. And you may have to do some planning, especially if you're in a team or are a rainmaker, of where you want your team to go next year. So this may not be just yours, and you can set that for the team as well, I believe. So even if it's not set up necessarily for teams, you can still set it up that way for your team, if that makes sense. So utilize this tool. It's there for you, and it will only grow more accurate as you put more information into Command. Do I have any questions on that? No? Okay. I'm going to show you quickly just in reports what these look like and how you can see them. So reports is right here, this applet with the little bars in the graph. When you click on it, you'll see this dashboard. Again, you're going to get your database overview. You're going to get your database health. And I want to show you this because I want to show you what tools you use in Command to improve this. So database health, I have 4,437 total contacts. This many are contacts, meaning I added them myself. 239 are leads, meaning I generated 239 leads, whether it was from a Facebook ad or an email campaign, whatever lead source, it routed into Command. So this tells me that I have a lot of contacts. If I was an agent, I would need to work on my leads. So coming down here, or I'm sorry, on the right, you can see where your leads were generated from. And this is counting for everything. So the majority of mine is an import I have, and then the 6% of it is from Facebook. So if I was an agent, I would say, well, where else can I reach out? Instagram, Twitter, on my website. If you have that contact information, is basically a lead generation form. Where can I promote my website? How can I promote my business more on Facebook? Even if it's not Facebook ads, your business page, which we are doing that in December on what to post and when. So make sure you watch out for that. I think that is I think it's the 17th. Don't quote me on that, but it is in December and you'll get reminders for that. So look and see what you're missing. Where could you add more to? Same with my database health. I have almost all the phone numbers, almost all the emails. I don't have very many addresses. Definitely don't have very many neighborhoods. I have no home anniversaries and no birthdays. So if this was your scorecard, which I would hope yours is a little better than mine, because, but either way, so how do we make this to 100%? I want to go in and see. You're going to have to do some digging. You're going to have to spend a little time on this. Find those people that don't have the phone numbers, send them an email, put them on an email smart plan. Say, hey, I know I had your number, but I lost it, or the number I have for you is inactive. Can I get your most recent phone number? And then if they send it to you, you add it in. Same thing with the email. Do a text message. Hey, I know I have your email. I can't find it. You know, can I get that? Addresses. I have, you know, some cool new information about your area. I would love to get your address. Can I get, you know, stuff like that. Just, and then as you get addresses, the neighborhoods will form as well. And if you don't have an active neighborhood for them, just because our neighborhoods run through the website Nextdoor. So if it's not in there, then unfortunately we don't have access to that information about their neighborhood, but you can use surrounding neighborhoods, or you can do as wide as the zip code, just so you can throw out those neighborhood nurtures and see those areas. And then again, home anniversaries, that would be sketchy. I'm not 100% on how you would get those, but just making it a point to get them is important. And then the birthdays as well. And then down here, it lets you know how often you are reaching out to your people. So I have not reached out in command. Let me clarify that. In command, command has no record of me reaching out to my database within the last 30 days. Nothing, which my database is different than yours, but this gives you a representation of what it's last tracked. So if you put any notes in your contacts that you've called someone or you've spoke to someone, whether it be whatever form, that will count towards this. But if you don't put anything in there, then it doesn't know. So this may not always be completely accurate, but from what it tracks, this is the way it sees it. So if I'm seeing, you know, obviously for my scenario, I have almost 70% of my database. I have last talked to them over 90 days ago. So that tells me I need to use more smart plans. That tells me I need to reach out to my database more, because the more you are relevant in people's minds and in their day-to-day lives, the more likely they are to ask you to be their realtor. They don't remember everything you sent them. They remember who you last saw. You know, when you're like, oh, I need a baker, or I need a, you know, who makes good this or that, or what restaurant do you recommend? And the first people to chime in is, oh, I went here last week and it was great, or oh, I used this person for my father's birthday, or, you know, they're gonna think of the last person they see, unless you've established that great relationship with them. I'm talking about the people who may not know that they need you yet. So using smart plans will touch your database for you, or remind you to touch them if you have to do it in a way that command cannot. So that way you stay relevant with them, you keep in touch. So moving up back here, going over to reports. My reports are not going to be very good because, again, I don't have actual opportunities in here to balance off of. But here's my total opportunities, new, potential, probable, and commissions. Again, my numbers are not there, but keep watch of these so you can see. So this is listing, buyer. Just watch over these. How average time, like how long are they in the cultivate stage? How long are they in the appointment stage? If they're in the cultivate stage for 6 months or more, then how are you going to step up communication with them? So cultivate stage would be like somebody who said they're interested in selling or buying a house. They haven't really committed to doing anything. You can't get a timeline out of them. So just push those neighborhood nurtures, especially if they're wanting to sell. But they're like, oh, well, I think we want to sell our house, but we just haven't found anything yet. Well, you know, once so-and-so, once Susie's through dance, or once she's in middle school, I think we'll look, or, you know, everyone has a reason why they're on the edge. But if you're pushing those neighborhood nurtures to them, where they see, or I'm sorry, the neighborhood snapshots where they can see what's happening in their neighborhood, and they see house to, you know, a block down the road that's not as big as theirs and not as updated as theirs, and they're getting way more money than they think their house could be, you know, they could get for their house, that's going to motivate them to hopefully put their house on the market. So, and if you're using your smart plans and sending out those neighborhood snapshots, you are going to be on the top of their mind. So move that cultivate into appointments. You know, look at these numbers and see how long that they're sitting there, and this is how much money you could be making in that time frame if you can move them down that pipeline. So those are all in there for you. It's just using that mindset of, how can I use this to benefit me? That is the purpose of Command. That is the purpose of all of this, is using it to benefit your business. And I know it's frustrating sometimes if it doesn't work right, but it's usually temporary. So, and then over here for your goals, again, this is on the dashboard as well, but your goals versus actual. So what is set is in up here, and then what you're doing. So if you set a goal of 10 appointments and you're only doing 4, then it's not going to be 100%, and you're going to see that. So that's why it's important to put these in here, so you can track what you're doing and track what you're also not doing, to know. So there's no reason you can't, if you're using this, you're utilizing it, you're keeping on top of your game, you're keeping yourself accountable, you should be able to meet your goals. And there's the tracker here just to let you know where your profit is. And then you can also do it monthly. So just switch it back and forth. And then your activities breakdown. How much of what are you doing? Your smart plans, emails, text, neighborhood searches, and notes. So this is a good thing to see. So obviously I'm doing a lot of emails. I'm doing a lot of text messages. Maybe I need to integrate other, which would be phone calls, calendar events. You know, I need to work on that, because I don't track my phone calls. That's part of the issue, but I don't call people as much as I email and text them. So that would be something I'd want to work on. Maybe ramping up my smart plans a little bit more. I mean, that's a lot of numbers, but it's also not as big. And then your goal conversion rates are right here. Obviously this was this year, so I don't have any in there, but that will be whatever you set come January, that will be there. And then your GCI breakdown, your goal, and then estimated year to date, and this is based on your opportunity. So that is all there for you, for your disposal to use. Lead routing, that only works if you're a team. Pretty self-explanatory. Your emails. These are your command emails that you send out, whether it's an email campaign, whether it's in a smart plan. This lets you know your metrics of how many have replied, how many clicked on them, how many marked as spam, how many were undelivered, meaning you probably have a bad email address, how many of them were opened, and how many unsubscribed. These are great numbers to see. The only downside is you can't see who it didn't go to. You can't see those yet. So hopefully that'll be an update that's coming. And then you can also track your emails. So you get 5,000 free command emails a month. And that restarts every month, but you can see how much of those you're using. And then the text messages here again, this is with Twilio. So if you don't have Twilio set up to your account, then obviously this is not going to work. But it uses credit usage, how much you've used. This is my credit limit. This is how much I've used. And then how much are text messages? How many credits are you using? How much are the media? So this is just a good tool to use to keep accountability of yourself and your business. So that way you don't have to worry about, am I meeting my goals in between the middle of life? Any last questions on these before I let y'all go? All right. Well, I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I will have Command website next week, like putting the little details in, how to put a video in, and just the little extras that makes your agent site a little better. That will be next Tuesday, but obviously we won't have anything on Thursday or Friday because both market centers are closed those days. So I hope everybody has a good weekend and a good Thanksgiving if I don't see you next week. Bye, everybody.